Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classics, that's known classics. This is episode number 1699 and Doubleshot number 1593. 93. Yeah, 93. This one first I'm discussing some individual issues. First I'm talking about the standalone issue, and after that I'm going to discuss a 4-part crossover. Yep. First up it is Avengers Number 389. Here's the weird thing about this issue. It's not in trade. Nope, there is no trade that collects this for some reason. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. You would think the Take and Aim trade would collect this, given the fact this is the last issue of the book before they came before the Crossing crossover. Nope. For some reason, it doesn't do that. Also, Mike Dino is not the artist's issue. Nope. I believe this was the only issue he didn't do. I mean, he started with the book with issue 380. Yeah, that's what he pretty much did. He skipped 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5 issues of roughly a run that lasted for a little over 2 years. Yes. The last issue he missed prior to this one was 386. Yeah. Now, the art for this one is done by somebody who actually has done some work recently, mostly for Deadpool, Scott Kubelich. Yeah, he also did some work for Blue Beetle. This mostly issue is focused on Deathcry. Yep, her basically working with Hercules. And we have various other Avengers appearing here. And we have Henry Pierre Gymrick. This is just mostly just about her, the whole issue, her being a threat, possibly being deported. It's a interesting issue, to say the least. But yeah, but don't worry, weirder stuff will happen in the next thing. It's an okay issue, per se. It's not terrible, but it's not exactly something people talk about. Now, next discussing a 4-part crossover, which was basically, it's called World War III. This is Marvel version, except this one, and this one's quite strange. Okay? Now, this is pretty much a 4-part story that first starts with Part 1 with Fantastic Four, Volume 2, Number 13. Part 2 is Avengers Volume 2, Number 13. Part 3 is, I believe it's Captain America, Volume 2, Number 13, and Iron Man, Volume 2, 13. Yes, this 4-part story is essentially put the final issue of all four of these series' second volumes. The writing for these 4 parts are done by James Robinson, which was actually his earliest time he actually worked at Marvel. Yes, seriously. Yep, he worked on this 4-parter. Yeah, he worked on this. Yeah, it was his first ever work he ever did for Marvel, was work on this 4-part story. Well, first, actually, the first book he worked on was an annual for Hulk, which came out a few years prior to this one. And after that, he did like a one-shot for Tales of Suspense. Then he pretty much did the World War III story arc, which after that, he did not make an appearance with Marvel again for 12 years. Yes, and this story arc is not in trade. There actually is a very good reason for that. You're probably thinking, why isn't there a reason why this 4-part story is not in trade? For the simple reason, the fact that Marvel does not own the rights to the Wildstorm characters. They belong to DC. Yep. And this crossover only came out 15 years ago. Actually, it was more like 25 years ago. Yep, 25-year-old story, not in trade. Due to the fact the Wildstorm character in here. People like Grifter, Stormwatch, the Wildcats, every known familiar character for the Wildstorm universe. Now, it's just basically them coming to this universe here, and it's a very interesting story. It's definitely a lot better than DC / Wildstorm Dream War. Yes, For an intercompany crossover, you can probably see why the fact this is not in trade. Now, the artwork for the first part here is done by Mike Waringa, who actually was the main artist for Mark Waid's Fantastic Four, who came back after this one. The other artists are Matt Ryan, who did part 2. Actually, I got the part 4 a little reversed. Part 2 is actually the Iron Man story, and part 4 is actually the Captain America story. Rob Lim does Captain America. Iron Man is done by Larry Sturman. Yeah. But it is definitely a damn good story. At some point, like one point in the story, they have several Wildstorm characters join the Avengers. Well, the Heroes Reborn Avengers. And, well, once this crossover wraps up, that's the end of Heroes Reborn. No, seriously, that is it. Which seems quite strange. The fact that and then this will later lead to Heroes Return. Yep. Related to Heroes Return, which brought about the restart of all 4 series number 1, the return of the series Thor, and a miniseries. Yep. Is this a terrible crossover? No. It's really good. I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm going to give this crossover I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Avengers 389, I'm going to give that an 8. Now, I'm next discussing, if I get the right page here, we go. Avengers Assemble, Volume 3, by Kirk Pusic and George Perez. Now, you're probably thinking, Nick, you've already done Volume 1. Why are you doing Volume 3 for? By accident, of course. Excuse me. This book contains issues 24-34, Annual 2000, and Thunderbolts 42-44. Now, I'm not going to discuss Thunderbolts 42-44 and Avengers 31-34 because that's a cross between 2 books. If you're curious about the annual, it's mostly put the return of Hellcat, who have been dead for several years, who actually committed suicide on the pages of Hellstorm Prince of Lies. Yeah, Hellstorm is definitely a character I'm definitely going to be considering discussing. Now, what happens in these issues? Well, in issue 24, it's mostly people protesting, and of course, Avengers not liking it very much. And of course, they just kind of like a regular day with the Avengers. And of course, then we have Justice getting a brand new costume here. Yeah, and this is a costume he would wear, from what I can tell, the rest of his time with let's just say, with the Avengers. I gotta admit, George Perez does an absolute great job with this issue. It's mostly the Avengers versus take on the Juggernaut. Then we have we have the giant-sized issue 25, which probably, they made issue 30 be like a 100-page monster. Yeah, this is known as the Ninth Day. Yeah, Ninth Day is a crossover between this book, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and the Juggernaut one-shot, which was the second one they were released. Yeah, that's simply what it is. It's mostly a crossover that deals with the Juggernaut. It's a good one. Really good. I thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's just a damn good one. Now, what about the rest of the issues? Well, 26 has sort of a temporary team. Not Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Mostly you have Silver Claw, Cap, Ant-Man, Warbird, and Captain Marvel. So the Avengers basically do like one day type of thing for this one-time Avengers deal. Yeah, it's interesting though that Captain Marvel, this of course is Genville, the son of the original Captain Marvel. Yeah, he appears in this book, despite the fact not long after this he becomes part of the Thunderbolts. Where, like, when they bring back New Thunderbolts, he's there for pretty much the entirety of New Thunderbolts era until he dies in issue 100. Where he gets killed by Baron Zemo. Yes, in this issue we have a guest star appearance by the Taskmaster. Yep, always good to see this guy. Yep. Oh yeah, 27 is a 100-page monster. Yes, it is a issue that's 100 pages. It is really lengthy. Oh my gosh, this issue was so freaking long to read. Like, it took me like a long time to read it. Yeah, it just mostly like some new people, Wasp, another one of various costumes. Mostly put for this one, it just basically adding Triathlon to the Avengers, while also basically re-adding Warbird and She-Hulk. Warbird, aka Miss Marvel. Yeah, during a brief period of time, she always have Warbird. And then we cut to 28, which is a death song of Kala Guth. Yeah, this is probably when Marvel still probably have the right to have this character. The copyright for this character is so confusing. Because at one point, Dynamite was publishing him in his comic, in their Red Sun comic, and then somehow Marvel got him back thanks to getting back Conan. Yeah. My guess is the reason why this issue wasn't skipped because, well, it features all the Avengers with a guest appearance by a character who's not technically owned by Marvel. Though the confusing thing with this guy is just that, well, he's just so confusing about who owns the rights to this character. Yeah, and we did with him for 2 issues 28 and 29. Yep. It's a damn good 2-parter. Actually concludes issue 30. With the Avengers taking on a Conan Barbarian villain. Which is by far the first time he's appeared in Monday at this point since his guest star appearance back in Marvel Team of 79. Yeah. Really fun 3-parter. The annual is mostly put by the return of Hellcat. Yeah, and it's also indirectly a crossover with Thunderbolts Annual 2000, which basically deals with Thunderbolts' reaction to the return of Hellcat. And that's it. Yeah. It's definitely a really good trade. And, well, so good. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Okay, so that's the particular view. Next view is going to be my 1700th episode, where I'm basically going to have a physical trade and digital trade. Well, digital trade definitely will be the second line for this trade series, just so I could, well, basically get done the first, like, 30, probably about 35 issues, because I have discussed 35 already, thanks to maximum security. Yep. But in the case of the other one, that'll be another Avengers trade. Which one it's going to be, you'll find out in episode 1700. It's my personal favorite series. Okay, next video. Bye.